right, welcome. What do you call two SEOs getting a divorce? Disavowed. Hi everyone, welcome to the SEO Video Show, the very first show ever. I have today a special guest, Erik Newton, who I'll bring on later on today. This is a show that will last for about 30 minutes. I'll go over a few SEO updates with Google and some tips that we have out there and hopefully drop some knowledge bomb for you guys. So let's get right to it. Let's check out the actual weather report today. This is where I call the SEO volatility report. This is when I check out weekly to see if there's any movements within the search engine rankings. You got to, right now, it looks pretty normal. A couple weeks ago, it was pretty volatile. I do this every week so I can see if I had any major positions move of my keywords. And if there was an update or some kind of volatility, I know I shouldn't worry. However, if you check back this week, and you do have some huge keyword jumps, that are negative, you should check it out because it doesn't seem like there's any volatility going on this week. Now on to a software that actually had a big update. It's something called Screaming Frog. I haven't actually used this because I use a software called Bright Edge, and I also use something called Websiter Audit to do a lot of my crawling. But this update seems a lot interesting. I think it's something that I want to actually check out. I'm curious out there, anyone in the chats, if you are using Screaming Frog, let me know. I want to see how it's going. Oh, I see. Okay, I see here we have. I see we have actually Erik here. You're actually in the chat now. I see you. Oh, here's Janine. Janine. Hi, Janine. How you doing? Just want to say hi to you guys before I continue here. Thank you for coming. Let's check this out. All right. So once we get back to with Screaming Frog, it's a crawler, right? It crawls your pages, and the particular one that it has, this update has a new content tab, so it checks your duplicate content and things like that, which looks pretty interesting. So it's something that I do want to check out. I want to make sure we have. And next to now some Google updates. Google does admit they had an outage. Did you know that if you use Twitter and report things on Twitter, they use tweets per hour to their handle to gauge outages? And I've actually had myself an outage, not necessarily an outage, but I've been having some crawling issues or some indexing issues. I couldn't get some pages indexed. And Google admits to an outage. It's something you can hear it from them right here.
It was actually a crawling issue. Externally, this looked like an indexing issue, but when we started debugging it, eventually it became clear that it was just crawling. It was Googlebot overwhelming indexing so much that indexing was basically drowning in new documents to process. And that was the cause. And then that also prevented, because indexing was overwhelmed, Caffeine was overwhelmed, it was not able to export new documents to our serving charts, which meant that from the vast majority of the sites, we were not picking up new documents.
So we were basically making the request to the server, fetching the page content, and then between that and actually putting it into the database for serving it to search result pages, there was a hiccup, basically.
Yeah, essentially, yes.
There you have it from themselves. Admitting to an outage, mistake. Again, if you know if any outages or any problems you're having, tweet them. They will get it. They rank outages tweets per hour. Another update from Google is that they updated their web spam report, and they said they updated their guidelines on their web page, and I found that was pretty much, they just took out a few sentences, and it wasn't really something that caught my attention, but they did take out the link where you report actual websites for manual observations. So any of you SEO haters out there that reports your competition, so sorry. I think they just removed that so you don't abuse it. Next, we also had Google came out with their myth busting show, and season 2 is out, which is pretty cool. They had a casual conversation. They brought in the Bing representative, and they talk about a few things. Let's play some clip from there.
Especially on backlinks, there's one angle on myths, right? If I have a lot of backlinks, I'll probably, rank higher. So there's a myth. Yes, it's one of the signals, but that's not the only signal. You have hundreds and hundreds of signals, and people actually spam. People actually spam with bad URLs.
It's easy to game that one. If that would be the signal, it's so easy to game. You just buy a bunch of links, really, and then you're like, whoa.
So backlinks are a ranking factor. So that's actually something, I have a gift for you right here. If you check this out, if you're looking for a high domain authority backlink, free backlink, you can go to this website, tele.ph, Telegraph. Go ahead and submit your story and get a backlink instantly. This is a high quality link, and so hopefully, thank you, shout out to Chris Palmer for letting me know about this. So that's your knowledge bomb for today. Next is something where we want to talk about, that is a recent update. It's by Google's new rich results test. I have an expert on today. His name's Erik, and he will be talking a little bit about Schema. And Schema, I feel, is a new modern meta. It's really important, and we could talk to Erik about it a little more, but let's have him explain it a little bit. Let's see here.
And since this concept of microdata and schema has been around, in my community, we've been asking each other, does this really do anything? Does it correlate? I get that Google's advocating for it, but does it correlate to rank impressions and traffic? And part of my relationship with Milestone and Anil is that they had the data to prove this, because they've done more than 9,400 schema deployments, which is more than any other that I've heard of. And their average improvement from doing a robust schema deployment is 20, 30, 40% gain in traffic from the schema, from what it does in exposing the visibility of the content and bringing people to the website.
And that's a clip from Erik, who I'm going to introduce right now. Erik Newton is the VP of Marketing at Milestone Inc. He is the growth marketing executive who takes full life cycle view of customer acquisition, experience, and retention. Prior to Milestone, he was the VP in growth marketing at Bright Edge. Early on in his career, he spent 6 years in Japan and earned his MBA there, and then started his career at SEO Agency in Tokyo. Erik has worked in the tech marketing for about 20 years at Adobe, MP3.com, Netflix, and TiVo. He has published more than 150 blogs on SEO, which are really rich in great ideas and content. Is an accomplished speaker and wrote a book called Hack the Corporate Fast Track. Let's welcome Erik Newton. Erik, welcome to the show. Man.
Hello, Dre. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Man, this is like full circle for me. You brought me on to my very first live webinar. Now I actually have you on my first live show. Great to have you here. I appreciate it. So how are you doing?
Yeah, it's good. It's been a big week. We relaunched the website. I finished an 8-part webinar series. Wrapping a lot of stuff up, and get a couple more projects started for next week.
Yeah, I noticed that. You at Milestone, you guys put out a lot of webinars, some great content, by the way. Like that clip I took off earlier on you explaining schema was very helpful. Like when I watched it, I actually watched it a few times and watched it more times because I wanted to pull that clip and share it with the community here. How often do you do webinars over at Milestone?
It's basically Webinar Wednesday almost every week. So we do about one a week, and we're partnering with our sales leaders, and they're doing webinars too. So we're supporting a couple off of our platform out into the other audiences.
Got it. Yeah, like I'm curious with webinars and content. I see that you do push out a lot of content. SEO wise, do you see like these pages ranking organically? Or is it just like, since the content on there, like are some forms that you fill out? How do you go about maybe ranking these pages where sometimes I feel some SEOs just kind of put up a landing page, put it with content in a form? Like, should they even try to optimize these pages?
Yeah, absolutely. You should you should use all the best practices for on-page, for technical SEO, for schema, and you should give the pages attention in terms of internal links so that they're well supported within your site. You should give them the kind of backing you give your content through other sites like social sites like YouTube and Facebook. While those links aren't going to necessarily be backlinks, you want to drive traffic to it, and the people who use your content and consume your content and like it, they might have a website that they could backlink that will give you that kind of backlink you talked about earlier.
Nice. Yeah, right now I want to go into how you became an SEO. I created this show, this community to bring together enterprise SEOs and enterprise in-house that are agent or agency who work at big brands, because I feel it's a little different than other SEOs out there. We do have some advantages of like maybe like brand mentions and a lot of PR, and we do have some disadvantages where we can't really do some technical stuff so quickly.
No.
You've actually worked at both. You've done in-house SEO and you've done SEO. Can you tell me a little bit about the difference of how how it works with being in-house and an agency?
Yeah, well, you're dealing with. I've been in large, medium, and small. And like you said, the bigger companies, when you're an SEO at a large company, you have a lot of brand volume. But brand is never really the challenge or the opportunity to capture. It's always non-brand that you want to get. And to be able to do that, you have to be able to move quickly. And in the old days, that meant that you had webmaster style access, that you could be editing the on-page text, you could be editing the H1s, you could be editing the metadata, you could be writing the href internal links yourself. So it had to be that small a site. So when I got up into the bigger sites like Netflix, you're going through a dev team to do that on multi-weeks and sometimes multi-month processes. The technology has evolved to the point where some of the tools are now using injection. So some of what we're doing in the industry is not actually placed on page. Like the schemas are going into a JSON container. And so you're able to write code, and non-engineering people can do the updates and affect the page significantly. And you can come up in the rich results 10 minutes. You could do 2 minutes later, you can see that Google has crawled it and understood the new content that you've put out or the new technical wrapping you put on it.
Can you explain a little more about that? Because I actually just heard about that too recently at the Web I/O or Web Live, Web Dev Live on the Google. And I just learned about that we can actually put schema tags in Google Tag Manager.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been around for a long time, and people are definitely getting more comfortable with it now. So there's 3 ways you can extract some technical SEO and put it effectively put it on the page for any regular user or for the search crawler. So the first is you generate the code and write it manually on the page. That's the traditional way of doing websites. It takes a couple months usually to get live. The second way to do it is injecting it through a tag manager, and that allows you to publish to, like I said, a JSON block of code, and you put a call script into the tag manager, and then the site calls it simultaneously when the page is being called. So this allows us to update, very complicated code. Basic metadata from the old days was maybe 5 to 10 lines of text and code for the markup. And what we're seeing now with schema is that there's 829 different schema types. And for any particular website, there might be 10 to 25 different schema types, and each page might have between 5 and 15. Well, the schema type with the properties marked up is going to be between 500 and 1,000 lines of code. So this is a lot of work to get it on the page. So it's fantastic that injecting through Schema Manager is available.
Got it. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, injecting through Tag Manager.
Yeah, that's some interesting stuff. I can't wait to try that in my my companies and clients, and be able to just do it myself, right? And you can go without the devs. One thing also, you are a very experienced SEO. What is one tip, or someone that's trying to get into SEO, like a digital marketer, or maybe someone that's out of college? Like there's some new things that we're basing things on skills now, and it's becoming a skill currency type of economy and hiring. Yeah. What are some skills you feel that an SEO or budding SEO or budding digital marketer who wants to become an SEO have?
Yeah, this advice it's not just for people who are specifically in our space, but it's for everybody who's trying to build their career, is be willing to do boring things. There's less competition to do boring, difficult things that require you to spend your weekends reading patents and reading, watching how-to videos and going to your channel and listening to content like this. So what does boring things mean in SEO? I mean, traditionally that meant on-page markup. Now it means linking. But I think Schema is the big opportunity right now in this entity-based SEO environment. So being good at Schema means that you can manage it with, the platforms, the tools, you could hand code it. And being good at that, becoming a subject matter expert is much more important earlier in your career than being a generalist. So don't try to come into your job and say you want to do strategy or you just want to write a blog. You have to do some of the hard things like email marketing, or do the hard part of social, and do the hard part of amplification, or do the hard part of analytics and tracking. That's the first bit of advice. The second one is write and publish. It's really surprising to me, Dre, and you've probably seen this too when you interview candidates. As digital as this generation is supposed to be, I'd say 98% of people don't have any digital publishing on their resume. They don't have videos, they don't have blogs, and they don't have books, whatever, white papers. And that's surprising to me because this generation is supposed to be so digital media centric. So you want to create things, and the easy way to do that is to write good content, thought leadership style content that educates people. And when you write, you make sure you understand things better, and so that you can explain them to other people. You generally find when you're teaching is when you understand it at the most complete level.
There you have it. Knowledge bomb right there. You guys, are you listening? Pay attention. That's some SEO magic for you guys. Make sure you take these tips and take them home. There's one thing I do on this show, Erik. I do something where I turn back the clock and I find so I do something where I rewind and I find this video that's maybe 10 years old. I'm actually on my old 15-year-old camcorder now. And so I found this video, and on the topic of skill set, I found this video as actually, you are a fellow Toastmaster as myself. And so I wanted to show this and show everyone how this video right here, let's play this. Oh, I don't hear anything. Well, oh, there you go. There you go. You're speaking Japanese here.
Loosely translated means, man, why do you suck so bad at doing dishes? Though I'm not welcome in the kitchen, very occasionally I am asked to go to the supermarket. And when I do, I assume that I can remember 4 things.
All right. Erik, so there's something I also do here, since I would usually go back and try to find a video and see if a strategy worked 10 years ago and ask the expert and see if it works today. But this video, ties in very well for our topic of today on skill setting and public speaking. I do a segment on the SEO Video Show where it's on Quora. I answer a question on Quora, and I found one that was just, I had to ask you. So I went on Quora and found this. Why do SEO experts give speeches? I found this so, wonder, why do we like giving speeches? What's your take?
Typically the SEO team's really small within each company. Even if you're in a big company, you might be on a 1 or 2 person team. And the knowledge we need is very specific. And I think it's an emerging industry and people are willing to share their knowledge. And we all know the satisfaction of understanding something like schema injection or AMP injection or injecting the metadata to advance what we're doing. I think we all suffer from not having complete visibility into the market makers and the search engines, and that if we band together, we all do a little bit better when we share knowledge.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's a way of educating, a good way to educate others and being able to educate it clearly, right? It's something where I found actually Toastmasters has helped me a lot in my career. I've actually just got voted president in this term. So I'm really excited about that.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. No, this is something that we do online, obviously. And it helps me a lot. I totally will recommend it to anyone trying to get into public speaking or just trying to communicate better or even become a leader. Toastmasters is it. How long have you been doing Toastmasters? I mean, that was 9 years ago. So
Yeah, I did a couple years of Toastmasters, did my CC, my silver, and my gold. And then I felt like I'd kind of learned the speaking techniques that they had to offer me. And that now I just do it a little more my own natural style without being in the structure of Toastmasters.
All right, if there's anyone out there that has any questions, please type it in the chat. Laura, I see you. Hello. Gyro Search is there. While we're waiting, if there's any questions that pop up, Erik, thank you. I mean, do you have any other webinars or anything coming up that people can sign up to? What can they visit? What's any kind of projects you got going on?
Yeah, we got a couple. I'm about to schedule a financial services webinar in a couple weeks, so look for it on my pages. I'm also publishing some new research and some of the research data. I don't know if we have time for it now, Dre, but what was so important was figuring out the statistical probability of gaining results from using schema. And what I was able, I'm working on some schema research right now, but I've published some AMP research. And one of the really interesting things was the correlation of pages and websites that use AMP with a much better CLS score, which is the new core vitals, which is a content layout shift. And there was a big correlation in like 70% of better improvement in CLS among sites that used AMP. Speed was about twice as fast. So these are some of the results that really I think are compelling, because AMP is only, we're only seeing, when I go out and scan websites, I only see AMP on about 4% of websites, which is surprising to me because it's been around for about 4 or 5 years, and it's advocated by Google, but not that many people are using it. And then the questions are coming up: is the juice worth the squeeze? And my research shows that AMP is definitely worth the squeeze, and schema is absolutely worth the squeeze. And using AMP's important even if you're not going after mobile traffic, because you get better performance for the page and you get respect from Google on mobile first analysis, even if you're on the B2B side and you're getting most of your traffic from desktop. How
heavy is that lift of implementing AMP pages? I mean, that's something I totally agree. I mean, I would love to have that, but I mean, again, if you're coming from enterprise companies, that's not so easy. It's not an easy sell, and you have to, build your business case, and put it all together. Like, tell me, how can I sell it?
AMP is a decent amount of effort, but I'd say it's on the tens of hours of effort to get AMP pages up. Do you have a tag manager on your CMS?
Well, we have something called Adobe Launch, which is something similar.
So Adobe has a tag manager, right?
Yes.
Then it can most likely be injected through there, so it doesn't have the complete overhead of the full IT project, because the AMP we can inject AMP data as well.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. There's something.
Yeah.
Another one.
Newer.
You're dropping bombs all day, Erik.
Well, I'm trying to add some value here for the first show, Dre.
Thank you very much. I totally appreciate it. I mean, I didn't see any questions here in the chat. So, I mean, Erik, if you have any other, how can people get in contact with you? How can other budding SEOs or digital marketers may possibly want to reach out to you, possibly on doing a webinar? Let me know.
Sure. I'm Erik.n at milestoneinternet.com, and you can reach me there. You can watch me publish. Check out the resources section. Look for the new research that I'm publishing. Look in the webinar section for new shows that we're putting out. And let me know how I can help. I put a couple jokes up while we're waiting to come on, Dre. Mm-hmm. So one of the jokes I put up there is, why do they call it the Mini Panda Update? Because it finds content that is a little bear.
Oh my God.
Hit the gong. Hit the bell for me.
There you go.
All right. And why do Thank you. That feels way better.
You got it.
Why do SEOs love the farmer's market, Dre?
Why?
Because it's full of organic content.
Dude, you're full of them. Actually, I was doing my research on jokes, and you did write a bunch of these. Like I saw you wrote a blog.
Yeah. I have the largest collection of SEO jokes in the world, and I usually rank first for SEO jokes on Google.
No, those were great. I've actually pulled them I'm going to use one of them for every intro I do on future shows. So you will be a part of all. Yes. Okay, Erik.
Fantastic.
Thank
all
you
right,
again.
Dre. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you. Okay, let's see here. Let me get back to, as promised, I have something for you guys. I did this rap. I have this rap for you guys, an SEO rap to help entertain you guys. I don't plan on doing this every week, but this will close it off here. As promised, an SEO rap, originally written by Charles Lewis back in 2009, the original SEO rapper. It goes a little something like this. Troy back again, so tell me what you think. New song, new dance, I call it the page rank. So you want to get the listing in the top position. If you pay attention, I can show you how to get it. Start with your content. I done said it before, 250 per page, and you're good to go. Add headers, titles, crosslinks are vital. Make it easy to read and use list items. Keyword rich is how it's meant to be. Make sure you have good keyword density. Double check your navigation. Make sure your links are functioned by order of importance. I call it link sculpting. Unique net information for all your pages. Try to make sure you cover all your bases. All text links should include key phrases. Make sure you put your links in the right places. Inbound links are what you should be chasing. Great content and good link baiting. Make people link to your site you created. To do that, you gotta have great information. I'm gonna tell you something else that works wonders. Yahoo Directory, it costs $300. If you're a dealer, get links from distributors. If you provide a service, get content contributors. If you always help to get links from manufacturers, your link should always be adding, not subtracting. Link quality is better than link quantity. Good valuable links is a good link policy. Some people swap links, I don't recommend it. Others buy links, I wouldn't spend it. Keyword stuffing, it's not a good practice. If you're doing that, you're gonna get stuck like a cactus. Do it the right way and be enthusiastic. And over time, your results will be fantastic. Pay attention, class, you need it at fast. Make a mad dash to first instead of last. Take out the competition like trash. And watch your page rank rise higher than gas. All right, guys. Till next week. Thank you for checking out episode 1 of the SEO Video Show. Same time, same place, same URL. Peace.